Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is regret. Lots of us have opportunities to wallow in regret, and it's a complex collection of all kinds of emotions and experience. And I want to take some time to tease it apart with you and look at how we might be able to transcend our regrets and move beyond them in our lives. So before we get started, let's take a minute to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it, and imagine crisp, clean oxygen just coursing into your lungs and into your bloodstream and nourishing every cell of your body, all your organs. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, any stress. And let's take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. And now let's imagine sparkling white light lighting up all the molecules in your body and connecting you with the universe beyond. And as you exhale, exhale any stress, any tension. And now let's just gently press our palms together and softly, softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms and feel the deliciousness of that sensation. Just softly tickling your fingers against your palms and bring yourself present to your body right here, right now. Welcome, 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 Catherine. I'm not going to try to say your last name, Catherine, middle name, because I might butcher it. But welcome. I'm delighted to have you here. And Jorge, welcome, welcome. And everybody else who's here joining us this morning, I'm so glad to have you here and to be sharing this time together. So today we're going to talk about regrets because I think it's something that we torture ourselves with our regrets, and I think that holding regret is a way that we hold ourselves to the past and keep ourselves stuck. Good afternoon, Hope. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We just changed time zones. No, Hope is in the UK. So welcome, and different time zone there. So regret. What really is regret? It was really interesting. I was doing a meditation this morning and a bunch of memories came up, and surprising memories. This was an interesting meditation. It was on clear and perfect vision, and what arose for me is being able to, out of nowhere, see some events from my past from a very different perspective. And that perspective let me see my culpability in the circumstances in a way that I hadn't perceived previously. And so what arose for me was a bunch of different feelings. There were feelings of sadness and feelings of some shame showed up for me, and disappointment in myself and how I behaved in that moment of my life. And so that got me to thinking about regret. Good morning, Dido. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about regret. And so what it got me to thinking about regret and what is the dynamic of regret. And first, the first thing that came to mind was guilt and shame, that's part of uh, so many regrets. And I know also there may be anger or rage uh, or any number of other emotions, vengeance. I mean, who knows? There could be such a collection of emotions that all combine to make regret such a powerful, powerful influence in our lives. And I was looking at, well, what is an antidote for regret? And what arose for me is forgiveness. And it's forgiveness of self, and also um, asking for the forgiveness of the other. And so I'm not in touch with the people that I had this memory around. And so I went to Ho'oponopono, which is something that I've talked about before. It's really, really powerful, uh, a powerful, powerful um, process to receive forgiveness and to create transmutation and transformation. So the way Ho'oponopono goes, and it's Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian forgiveness ritual, and the way that it goes is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And it's not just words, so it's something that we get to be present to, and you can envision the person or people. Thank you, Dido. She put Ho'oponopono in the in the chat for anybody that wants to check it out. So if you want to look it up and learn more about it, but the idea is, in each portion of the process, I'm sorry, is to really connect with whatever that regret is, whatever that sorrow is, and envisioning the person or people that were that you may have the regrets about around in that circumstance. I'm sorry. And that is taking responsibility for your accountability in creating that circumstance. And the premise really of Ho'oponopono is that we create our world. And so I am responsible for that circumstance. It's such a powerful practice. But anyway, I'm sorry, and then asking for forgiveness. And the thing is that we get to do this with ourselves for our regrets as well, because most often there's blame, self-blame, self-shame, guilt associated with our regrets. And so please forgive me. We get to ask for that forgiveness of the other, of ourselves. I love you. And that is bringing ourselves to presence of our acceptance of the other and or ourselves. I love you. It's like, regardless, whatever the circumstance, I choose love. And thank you is gratitude. Thank you for receiving that love. Thank you for your forgiveness and acceptance. So on that's one practice, that's one way to move into forgiveness of self and other. And we may have regrets over the path not taken. I i i wonder if that's the case for you, if you guys want to play with me here and look at some of the things that you may have regrets about in your life. I don't have too many regrets, I have to say, because I have gifted myself the forgiveness to move beyond my transgressions or behaviors, or that I weren't up to my standard, to be able to see those things clearly and to be able to see them without judgment is a gift that we can give ourselves and give others. Because as we learn to be less judgmental of ourselves, we are less judgmental of others. And our judgment of others, if you dig a little bit more deeply underneath it, it's typically connected with a very deep judgment of ourselves. So, what we're looking at in terms of dealing with regret is acceptance. Acceptance. And to say, okay, well, you know what? Part of me wishes I hadn't done that. And I accept that that's how it was. I accept it. And Christina, welcome. So glad to have you here. And Christina says, thanks for reminding me once again of Ho'oponopono. I had a not too nice reminder that I still have some regrets with the circumstances surrounding my mom's death that have been put on the back burner because of all the changes. Universe reminded me back burner does not mean gone. I have few regrets in life as well, but this was one. Several, really. Christina, thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing so deeply from your heart. Um, yeah, I had some regrets around my dad's death too. And I've been revisiting so much of this lately. It's wild. It's really bizarre. I think it might have to do with this perfect vision meditation I'm doing, which is like really sort of seeing things with a new eye and new clarity. And it's not always pretty, and we get to look at those things where we have regrets and heal that, because carrying that, first of all, denying it just embeds it deeper. So what you're saying here, not that you were denying when you put something on the back burner, but I agree with you. Just because it's on the back burner doesn't mean it's gone. And so we do get to address those things. When we address the things that we have regret about head on, when we are willing to look straight on at these circumstances, then we have the capability to heal them, and to heal them for ourselves and to heal them for others. And I find that the whole Ho'oponopono practice is really powerful. I also find tapping is really powerful. So I've spoken about tapping a lot, I think, or multiple times anyway, but there's a guy named Nick Ortner, Ortner, who does the Tapping Summit. And he did not originate the tapping practice, but he's one of the biggest popularizers of it. And it's very, very powerful for moving through emotional states and pain and different beliefs, and it's a self-healing practice. It's really powerful. I invite you to look into that as well. And the bottom line is acceptance, and part of acceptance is recognizing that even with our imperfection, we are worthy of love, that we deserve love, that we are entitled to love. We are all worthy of love and self-love and self-acceptance. And so when we recognize that we're not perfect and we don't have to be perfect, then we can accept ourselves in our bright brilliance and our dark shadows. And that's what true acceptance is, particularly without judgment, is to be realizing that we are light and shadow. And One doesn't exist without the other. And Dido found Nick Ortner for us. Thank you so much, at the tappingsolution.com. So I really invite you to check that out. It's a very, very powerful practice for self-healing and transformation. So to get you through difficult moments and to move into this deeper sense of love and acceptance. Christina writes, my mom just passed in February, and it's been a much different grieving process to start with. I actually have been trained in tapping as well as acupressure points. I am good using techniques on others, but seem to need gentle reminders for myself. Thanks for that. You are so welcome. You know, it's so true for many, many of us that are healer type people, practitioners, and that it's kind of like the cobbler with no shoes, right? We're the last ones to take care of ourselves or use all these wonderful tools for ourselves. Another really powerful and important piece of this healing process from regrets, from any deep wounding is to be present to the feelings of it, you know, to be touching into the sensations and emotions that come up when you're present to a regret, for example. And I think regret is really hairy because it's a compilation of so many different tentacles where you have the emotion of sadness, perhaps, or anger or frustration. You have judgment, you have self-judgment, uh, you have grief and shame and blame and guilt, perhaps. And so it's all these different emotions tied up in this very, very complex knot. And so with Ho'oponopono, if you decide to use that practice in addressing regret, particularly for self-forgiveness and for forgiveness from others, it may be helpful to identify what the emotional components are of that regret. Christina says all of that. I hear you. I hear you. I have been very present to these things for myself in my past, in the past week or two, actually, as I'm thinking about it. But today it was particularly poignant, and it helps to tease those pieces apart and work with each one individually, identify the sorrow and the grief and be present to it, feel it in your body, allow yourself to have the experience of it. And as you, rather than pushing it away, because one of the things that I think is such a temptation with our emotions and what we've been socially conditioned to is to deny the emotions, or you know, just say get over it, or not allow yourself to feel it. And by pushing it away, whether it's to the back burner or beyond, by pushing it away, imagining that it'll go away. What happens is by pushing it away, it just embeds more deeply. At least that's my experience. And then it can come back years later to haunt you. I mean, I was remembering things from my 30s. So yeah, it's been a while. And just getting a different perspective on those events. And so by teasing apart the separate pieces, you get to experience where is that feeling in your body and what does it feel like. And actually, even though it seems counterintuitive, even though you might imagine that, by putting your attention, you're amplifying that feeling and experience. What happens is that you, by allowing yourself to experience it, it releases. At least that's my experience of it. When you really allow yourself to feel the feelings, and as frightening as it might be, maybe you are afraid that if you feel those feelings, you'll get sucked in and you'll never get out because they're so deep and they're so powerful. But the truth is that, at least in my years of witnessing this with myself and others, by being present to it, you allow it to move. And the reason for that is that those emotions are energy, and by repressing them, we're sort of compressing that energy, and it becomes this condensed energy. And what happens is, if we don't address those energetic patterns, they become physical. They crystallize at some point. That energy crystallizes and manifests physically in pain or dis-ease of one form or another. Christina, you're so welcome. And I really appreciate your candor and your vulnerability and your sharing. Thank you. So as you allow yourself to feel these emotions, you'll notice that they're in your body somewhere, and there may be physical sensations that are attendant to them when you really put your attention on it, like maybe a weight or a tingling or a pinching or a stabbing or any number of other kinds of sensations, a numbness, whatever it is. And you put your attention on it and breathe into it, and just not be putting your attention on it in a way that you're wanting it to disappear. It's not about wanting it to disappear. It's about being able to be present to it as it is, and be there with curiosity. And as you allow that feeling to be felt, then it dissipates. As if you're feeling the feeling and saying, I want it to go away, I want it to go away, you're trying to make it go away. I find that that's a whole lot less effective than just being really truly present to the feeling. And so with this idea of regret and the many different emotions that may be attendant to it, by addressing those emotions one by one, uh, you get to tease apart this regret and to heal it. And you still may you still may feel like, well, it would have been nice to do it differently, and that's how it is. And there may be some remnant of that. Uh, and hopefully the emotion that's attendant to that, the guilt, the shame, the sorrow, the grief, the anger, the frustration, all of it uh, will be dissipated. And then the next step, I believe, to moving beyond regret, to truly re, re, re I guess I'm, well, to heal the regret, let's just say that, would be to find trust in life, trust in your process, trust in the perfection of life and the perfection of your life, and to know that it's, as painful as it may have been, as challenging, that it's perfect, and that we are fulfilling our lives in a perfect path. And if you can find yourself in that place, then then there is no regret. If we can recognize that all of those things brought us to this moment of awareness, to this moment of revelation, to this moment of acceptance, to this moment of self love, to this moment of understanding, if we can allow ourselves to realize that every single moment of our lives is a critical part of what brought us right here, right now, then we can find also a deeper acceptance and we can release the regrets. And I'm so glad that you're finding this helpful, Catherine. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. And yeah, so because this is a time with COVID, with the fires in the world, with the social awakening that we are undergoing. We're undergoing a deep awakening in so many ways. And with that awakening comes a vantage point or a new perspective on our lives and on ourselves and on our history. We do get to look with open eyes at who we've been in order to choose who we become. And therefore, these tools of forgiveness and acceptance are so profoundly important for us to emerge into our possibilities and our potential for for love and creativity, creating a new world. So the forgiveness and acceptance begins here. And I'm so glad to have you guys participating this morning and or this afternoon, and to be engaging in this, because it's so important to heal ourselves forward so that we can truly create a new future. Dido says, I just want to capture what you just said. Every single moment of our lives brings us right here, right now, so that we can be present, so that we can release our regrets. Beautiful. Thank you. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, within ourselves, that's where all of this begins. And the I think being present, really truly being present to the fact that our who we are right here in this moment, feeling whatever we're feeling, having whatever thoughts we're having, or whatever judgments, whatever regrets, whatever celebrations, that every single moment in our lives together, all those moments together brought you to this moment now. And there's not one moment that you could withdraw from that history that would bring you to this particular moment. So you get to keep them all and you get to cherish them all, despite the pain that may have come with them or that you may have created from them. We get to cherish all of those moments in bringing us to this place right now. So I think that's it for today. This was it's so enriching for me when you guys engage. I can't even tell you. I'm so grateful to you for being part of the conversation. And be gentle with you. Be gentle with you and allow yourself to move gracefully into self love, deeper self acceptance, and releasing the regrets. And so I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I'm here weekday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. So I hope you'll be back and play with me again sometime soon. So much love, deep, deep compassion to you.